out back your tire and it's over.
Well, I can't say anything bad. All right, I'll try to do it. Well, you know, I'm 66. They're children. They're 40. I've got 26 years of wisdom that they don't have. I've also been a part of the free enterprise system. I have not had a tax thing that I could go back to and say, oh, good, I'm just going to get a little bit, I'm going to get some more money to run a business or something. I've never had that. And also, I'm paying for this campaign myself, and I know that one's got 300,000, the other's got 300,000, but somebody wants something. I don't, you know, nobody has come up to me and said, Randy, can I give you $50 today? No, somebody, you don't get that unless somebody has got something in the back of their mind. So I think that puts me in a different, and maybe I can talk about the oil business. I was in it for years. Years. Did you know that natural gas is selling for $2 an MCF and that there's 6 of those in a barrel? That's $12 for a barrel of oil, and that is, I mean, that's the equivalent. This is natural gas. They're giving it away. You don't want to drill offshore when they're giving it away, but you ask, why in the heck is natural gas being given away and oil is $100 a barrel? It's price fixing. That's what's going on. But I know a lot about the oil business, and also I'm going to be out of there in 8 years or less. I'm not a professional politician. I have no interest in being a professional politician, and I think that the thing goes to money. The problem with this country is money and politics, and you pay for it yourself, you're going to get something different than if somebody else pays for it.
I have 11,000 people that are expecting something from me. I have 11,000 people that have given us a contribution. I have 11,000 people that are expecting me to go to Washington and kick some tires. Because they know that that's what I do. There's a lot we could talk about, so in the 40 seconds that remain, I just want to tell you about a choice that I made on a day that you'll never forget. And it was September 11, 2001, when I had a fancy house and a fancy life and a fancy job and a fancy business. And I saw buildings burning where I used to work because terrorists killed friends of mine. And I made a decision in a moment that I would leave all of that my wife would have to relocate with me, and that I would get a bad haircut so that I could go kick some tires. And I did. I offer you that because in the end these choices are going to be about character and who do you want representing you and protecting you and your family. And I have proven to you when you weren't looking that I will put my country first even if it kills me. And it almost has. And it's been worth it every single time.
You know, I think we're all good men here. And if we were to check the box on issues, we would probably agree on 98% of the issues. The key is, though, you got to be able to win. I'm the only candidate in this race that has won contested elections. I had a very tough primary in 2008, was outspent 2-1. All the negative stuff you could imagine on TV. In fact, my grandmother called me and she said, David, I did not know. And I said, Grandmother, I didn't either. I won 70-30. I won a race in 2008 against a very, very popular Democrat. Widespread name ID, high favorables. Everybody was betting I was going to lose. I won. I won because of the Jesse crowds. All those years that I worked for Senator Helms, I built a reputation. I built a reputation of providing solutions. That's how I won in 2008, and it's how I'll win in the fall of 2012.
Okay. Mr. Clark?
I guess in my 1 minute that I have left on this, I would say that we're talking about Social Security. There have been people, Mike McIntyre voted for to have contributions. People talking about you can't have Social Security unless you have contributions. You can talk it till you go to the end of the time, but some of my competition is not talking or talking about things, but I haven't heard them say increase the contributions. If you don't have Social Security, if you don't say that you are going to support and support it, and I mean by that, put the contributions back, I don't believe you're going to beat Mike. I believe that you have got to be supportive of Social Security contributions, and it's not an entitlement, it's not a tax, it's a contribution, and if you don't have that, I think you're going to have a heck of a hard time beating Mike.
Thank you. Mr. Pantana mentioned September 11th, and I think that we would be remiss tonight in the few minutes that we have remaining not to give our candidates an opportunity to talk about national security. So, kind of for the final question before we go to the comments, I wanted to ask you, in your view, what is the single biggest threat to America's national security, and how do you think that we should address that threat? How would you address it when you will be serving in Congress? And we'll do with Mr. Pantano for the first at this, then to Mr. Rouser, Mr. Crow, and then back to Mr. Pantano.
I think many of you know what my background is. I've been a trigger puller in 2 wars. I was in the first Gulf War, which I remember inhaling all of the burning oil when Saddam Hussein triggered these oil wells. I remember writing a letter home and leaving my pen on the hood of a Humvee and picking up the letter, and it was a different color around the pen. That's how much particulate oil was in the air. I already described to you a decision to go back in the Marines a second time. I have a little bit of experience in national security policy. I was working on a master's in intelligence. I've studied these things, but I don't pretend to be an expert. But in my analysis, the biggest threat that we face in the United States is the price of energy. That's triggered and affected by a number of factors. We have a potentially nuclear Iran. We have, as they threaten to close the Straits of Hormuz, we have China, which has 1.3 billion people, and today the world's largest car market, followed now closely by India. So the price of energy has a lot to do with where and when and how we use force. You know that 100 years ago we fought wars for bananas. Your sons and your daughters go and fight so that we have access for energy, which is one of the reasons that I'm so intent on making sure that we're self-sufficient here. I'm so intent on it because I see it as a national security issue and an economic security issue, and the two are intertwined. Our debt is a national security problem, immigration is a national security problem, but if you think about the price of energy, when China and the United States rub up against each other in the Philippine Sea over the Spratly Islands and access to oil a mile under the ocean, that war isn't going to be about fried rice. It's going to be about oil. Energy is the #1 issue. So how do we forestall that? We use the resources that we have here in America. We have gas, we have coal, we have oil, we have a nuclear energy industry that we pioneered 50 years ago, and we've now allowed to go fallow and be third in the world. We need all of it, and we need it here.